Hamilton drops bombshell on Mercedes after shocking statement. So we're going to be going through that and 3 other stories in today's video. So make sure to like this video, and if you want more Mercedes news content like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel by hitting that red button down below. The first story is Lewis Hamilton reveals ugly truth about W15 and gives his frustration on Mercedes. Mercedes driver Lewis Hamilton, who secured 9th place in Saturday's race in Jeddah, disclosed that the deficiencies of the car have been significantly impacting its performance, allowing rival cars to easily outperform the W15 in high-speed corners. Mercedes raised the bar on expectations about its 2024 title contender over the winter break as it developed an entirely new car to compete with Red Bull at the front. However, the first 2 races of the season have a bleak picture to offer about the W15. Not only in qualifying but even in the Grand Prix, the car refuses to push the drivers into the top 5. Despite his extensive experience, Hamilton started 9th on the grid in the season opener in Bahrain, over 2/10 behind Russell, but he could only manage to climb up to 7th place as Mercedes grappled with overheating issues stemming from a misjudgment of the conditions in Sakhir. Enduring yet another demanding race in Jeddah, the 7-time world champion crossed the finish line in 9th place, opting to stay on track during the initial safety car period. As the race progressed, Hamilton visibly struggled to keep pace with Lando Norris in the high-speed corners of Sector 1 in Jeddah, while the McLaren driver steadily increased his lead. Speaking to the media after the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, Hamilton expressed that he wasn't having fun battling for 9th. He said, "I wouldn't say I'm having fun. I'm racing for 9th, so I definitely can't say that. Finishing 9th is definitely not fun. But I am enjoying the actual racing part. I was hunting and I was pushing as hard as I could. I was maximizing everything I had with the car. I was right on the edge. It was just unfortunately really lacking performance in the high speed where they were walking all over us. But there are positives. The car is good in low speed. We have to add a lot of load in the high speed. I think if we were able to do that, then I think it puts us in the fight, but we've got some work to do." Lewis Hamilton's indifferent start to the 2024 season with Mercedes has led to former Formula One driver David Coulthard suggesting that the 7-time world champion is struggling. In a very disappointing return in his final year at Mercedes, Hamilton is currently sat down in 9th in the Drivers' Championship, having only managed a 7th place finish in Bahrain and a 9th place finish at the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. Mercedes' new W15 car has failed to look like a title challenger so far. Worse for Hamilton is being beaten by teammate George Russell in both qualifying sessions and races so far. The 7-time world champion is hoping to return Mercedes to winning ways this season before leaving for pastures new ahead of 2025, switching Brackley for Maranello and the red of Ferrari. Now, Coulthard, who claimed 13 victories between 1994-2008 in F1, has voiced his concerns for Hamilton, who may already have one eye on his shock switch to Ferrari. Speaking to Channel 4 about Hamilton's start to the 2024 campaign, Coulthard said, "He's just not been settled with this car. And you can tell, George Russell is just honing the lap time right now, and you can feel that Lewis is on the back foot. What we do know, though, if he does find a window of performance, then he will deliver. But right now, it's looking like his decision to head off to Ferrari, mentally, he is already there." The second story is George Russell exposes that Mercedes are struggling to understand W15. George Russell believes there is potential to unlock within the Mercedes W15, but the Silver Arrows are still struggling to capture this potential. After 2 difficult campaigns for the Brackley-based team, doubts are already creeping in about the F1 team's 2024 trajectory. Inconsistency has been a common theme for Mercedes in the last 2 years. Pre-season testing did little to show the W15's true performance, whilst cooling issues at the Bahrain GP made any assessments of the Mercedes car tricky. However, there were no excuses or external factors to justify Mercedes' performance in Saudi Arabia. Aside from their lukewarm finishing result of P6 and P9, perhaps the most telling aspect of the team's predicament was the first sector. In his final stint on soft tires, Lewis Hamilton was consistently losing over 5/10 to Lando Norris. For this high-speed vulnerability to be broadcast so openly inevitably raised serious concerns. To make matters worse, Toto Wolff has hinted at fundamental issues with simulator correlation. This is becoming a recurring problem for Mercedes and could impede their chances of progressing in the foreseeable future. George Russell was candid about the problems being faced at the factory and by extension trackside, still struggling to understand this car, in all honesty. Because it's shown true performance at points, he told Sky Sports. At Bahrain, we were P1 and P2 in practice, straight out of the box. Here on Thursday, we were quick, and we've kind of got a little bit slower as the weekend progressed. So we need to understand why that is and tap into the data to understand it further. Lewis Hamilton is similarly pessimistic in his feedback, outlining that Mercedes are very far from competing at the front. With the window of opportunity narrowing under these F1 regulations, there is no time to waste at Brackley. The German constructor cannot be written off, but assuming that progress is imminent would also be a mistake. Only Red Bull and Ferrari can be confident in their trajectory. James Allison's preseason optimism would not have been unfounded, but this only makes the discrepancy between the team's expectations and actual results more worrying. The upcoming sequence of rounds will be critical. Not only are the first upgrade packages of 2024 being introduced, but for some teams, more mileage is needed to understand their current platforms. As shown by Aston Martin last season, introducing updates is never guaranteed to generate more lap time. Therefore, for most Mercedes faithful, a seeing is believing approach will surely become standard regarding their development. Lewis Hamilton said he was not having fun as he struggled and finished only 9th at the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. Though the 7-time world champion has praised his new W15 car, he struggled for pace in the fast corners of the Jeddah Corniche circuit. That, plus a Mercedes strategy gamble which didn't pay off, meant he finished 47 seconds down the road from winner Max Verstappen. As a result, Hamilton was left feeling like he was behind the wheel of a car from a different category. Team principal Toto Wolff said there was a fundamental problem with the W15, which means that it is far too slow in those quicker turns, and Hamilton is bracing for his tough start to the new season to continue with the issue likely to take some time to resolve. He said, "I think all the high-speed circuits we are going to be at a disadvantage with the package we currently have. But we're good in the low speed, and some of the medium speed. We're not so bad. It's just really the high speed, so we just have to add performance. It was like I was in a different category when I was going through the high speed with the other guys around me." Asked about his race, the Briton added, "I wouldn't say I'm having fun. I'm racing for 9th, so I definitely can't say that. Finishing 9th is definitely not fun. But I am enjoying the actual racing part. And I was hunting, and I was pushing as hard as I could. I was maximizing everything I had with the car. I was right on the edge. It was just unfortunately really lacking performance in the high speed, where they were walking all over us. But there are positives. The car is good in low speed. We have to add a lot of load in the high speed. I think if we were able to do that, then I think it puts us in the fight, but we've got some work to do." There was plenty of optimism after preseason testing, especially from Hamilton, who seemed much more content with the W15 than had been the case with the two Mercedes cars that preceded it. Yes, the situation he finds himself in is familiar, saddled with a machine in which he is incapable of achieving his goals. The third story is Wolff reveals the key move that would allow Verstappen's swoop. Toto Wolff has acknowledged that Mercedes must make one key improvement to their car before they consider making a swoop for current Formula One champion Max Verstappen. The Dutchman has won 19 of the last 20 races and is in the form of a lifetime in an RB20 car that is the clear head of the field. The ongoing Red Bull saga has fueled rumors that in the case Helmut Marko leaves the team, he would seek an exit too. Mercedes' free 2025 seat could be tempting in that case, but after their recent struggles, it might take some convincing before he signs on the dotted line. Silver Arrow's boss Toto Wolff believes it is crucial that the team improve their car before making any approaches to Verstappen. "I would love to have him," he said, "but first we need to sort out our car. We owe it to our drivers George and Lewis to improve the car and give them equipment that is good before dreaming about the future next year. I think we are going to wait on a decision. We have a few interesting options. The more we are able to assess how the season pans out, young drivers, slightly older ones. That's not going to be a decision we want to take in the next few weeks. It's rather a few months depending on where it goes. There is plenty to let play out in the driver market before Mercedes needs to make a decision on a second driver to partner George Russell in 2025. It's likely that much of the field will be eager to put their name in the hat for a shot at racing for the German manufacturer, affording them the opportunity to take their time and pick between a balance of speed and experience. Red Bull advisor Helmut Marko has responded to an offer to join rivals Mercedes from team boss Toto Wolff. The 80-year-old revealed during the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix weekend that he was set to have a meeting with Red Bull GmbH managing director Oliver Mintzlaff to discuss his future within the team, with plenty of doubt surrounding his next endeavors. While that meeting is understood to have taken place on the morning of race day in Jeddah with very good conversations, the situation is not fully clarified, with Max Verstappen giving his team an ultimatum surrounding Marko during the weekend.